What's going on, Vikings fans? Let me see here. Oh, let me make sure we got the mic going. Perfect. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to Purple and Gold Bars. I'm your host, Supreme. We made it to game day and we're playing the Detroit Lions today. Throughout the years, we've had some wild games go down between us. While people make their way into the stream, I want to start by telling you about my first Vikings game. It was September 30th, 2012, and I made it to Detroit for my first NFL game, just 3 years into being an NFL fan, and I believe that this game is what solidified me being a Vikings fan. It was an amazing experience, and because the Lions hadn't started winning yet, it was a good time. The opening kickoff came to Percy Harvin. He caught it on the side of the field that I was on, and I watched him hit the hole and take it to the house. Adrian Peterson ran the ball down their throat, and to start the second half, the Lions went a quick 3-and-out, and Marcus Sherrills took the punt to the house for a touchdown. So it was a great game, and we definitely destroyed him that day, but it's going to be a completely different game today. They have a dominant running game this time around, and both teams are evenly matched. Let me drop some bars for you. The Vikings schedule to date is the fourth hardest, and their remaining strength of schedule is 28th, giving them the fourth easiest schedule the rest of the way. According to PFF, we have an 87% chance to make the playoffs and almost a 50% chance to win the division. Vikings' home field advantage has been a huge impact on teams, and it's going to be far worse today after a 5-0 start. Sam Darnold has been the fourth most pressured quarterback in the league at 29.1%, but has had the benefit of clean pockets against some of the best in the league so far. Vikings have a 52.4% pass blitz rate, which is highest in the league, and are allowing only 3.5 yards per carry, which is third best. Among qualified quarterbacks, Jared Goff currently ranks second in EPA when he holds the ball longer for 2.5 seconds. When he gets rid of the ball in under 2.5 seconds, though, he ranks 30th, which is only ahead of Will Levis. That's a 45.3 PFF passer grade under pressure, which is good for 21st in the NFL. Lions are coming off back-to-back 40-point games for the first time since 1962. What are the odds that they do it 3 weeks in a row? The Detroit Lions have one of the best rush offenses in the league, which is going to be a lot to handle. Ben Johnson has been rolling the past couple weeks. They have a dominant run game and have also been throwing out trick plays to linemen as a way to maybe rub it in or send a message to the NFL. They are doing this because of they're able to do this because of a brilliant offensive coordinator, a loaded offense, and that has experience playing with each other for a long time now. They're a talented top-tier roster that doesn't have any glaring weaknesses. You can attack them in any given area, and what is needed to beat this team is giving them the exact same thing to deal with. I can go on and on with stats highlighting the strengths that both teams have. But at the end of the day, once both teams put their strengths on the scale, they're basically even. What I can confidently say is that this game is going to be a knockdown battle from start to beginning. I don't believe it's going to be a high-scoring game, and we're in for a treat as Vikings fans, but also as football fans, because we get to witness the number one offense versus the number one defense go at it, or one of the best, and see what really happens. This championship leads you to are championships born with defense or offense? Now, I do want to talk about key areas that I think will be the difference in this game. But first, let's react to this clip from Good Morning Football where they preview the Lions and Vikings.
Consider point differential. This is a stat that people like to obsess over, but it's essentially how badly teams are beating up on other teams. Not only do the Vikings and Lions sit at the top 2 in the NFL, the entire division does. That's Chicago, that's Green Bay, and then you see the Bills sit there. But how ridiculous is it that the NFC North has real estate at the top of the highest point differential conversation so far this season? Peter, this one is juicy. Take your first bite of Vikings-Lions ahead of this weekend.
First and foremost, incredible. Big props to everyone in the NFC North for being so dominant, beating teams the way they have been. So props to everybody. And let's get back to the clip.
I look forward to talking about this game today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Monday. I cannot wait for this game. I also love the cerebral part to this game. You've got two of the great tacticians going at it. Ben Johnson's offense is a thing of beauty right now. They have now kicked the snot out of the Seahawks and the Cowboys in consecutive weeks and have done so with a flair and a style that we don't see at other offenses and we don't see on week-to-week basis. This offensive coordinator from the Lions is putting on a show every single week, and they do so with trick plays and a little bit of sizzle to their steak. We know David Montgomery's going to run the ball down their throat, and that is the hard part of that offense. Then there's the razzle-dazzle. This was to an offensive lineman.
Bring that in.
They had the other one to Skinner that they tried here. They did this, the hook and ladder to Penne. This is what Ben Johnson has, and you know what the thing that's scary? This is just scratching the surface of a playbook that goes deeper and deeper and deeper. He's not unveiling this in the second half. Look at that face. He's not unveiling this in the second half of a Week 6 game unless he knows he's got stuff for Week 7, Week 8, Week 9, the playoffs, and maybe, just maybe, for New Orleans in the Super Bowl. So you have him on one side.
Let's just, before he goes into the Vikings, 1,000% agree with everything that Peter Schrager just said there. The Lions are an extremely well-coached team on both sides of the ball. They have an incredibly talented roster, and I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk this week. But now let's see what Peter has to say about the Vikings.
But then you got that dude in that black vest, flat-brimmed hat, black hat. Brian Flores is not here to play around. And Brian Flores probably was watching on Sunday as the Vikings were on their bye. And Brian Flores probably like, oh, is that right? You want to do some trick plays with your offensive linemen? You want to do hook and laterals? Just wait to what we have in store for Jared Goff this weekend. If I can indulge one more time, and I am sorry to everyone else in this. I know there's 18 different people on the boxes right now. Can we roll the Brian Flores sound one more time and just check the glint in his eye as he's wearing this puffy vest, flat brim hat, and he talks about fighting fire with fire because this guy, he is not taking any prisoners on Sunday.
It's a talented team, really across the board. They play physical. They don't really have a lot of weaknesses. Normally you can, you watch the tape and you say, hey, we're going to attack them here. That's not really the case with this group. So really from the backs to the tight ends to the receivers to the O-line to the quarterback to the play caller, all of it is, high level. They do a really nice job.
When you're up against an aggressive play caller, and I guess you'll see some of this weekend, how does that change things for a defensive coach trying to counter that?
I try to fight fire with fire, That's just me. Some other people are different.
Man, if you're a Vikings fan, that's got to give you a ton of confidence. It's going to be fireworks against fireworks. Both teams are going to be laying it out on the line, and we're in for an incredible football game. I love that grin that he has. I love the confidence. I also love the confidence that I see in Ben Johnson. He's aggressive. He does a lot of things. I see a lot of comments from football fans that want their team to just blow out teams and kind of like rub it in, stomp it in, and just continue to score. Letting off the gas is just constantly said in comment videos for a lot of different fan bases. And yeah, I don't think I see that in the Lions comments. So props to them. They're going to be bringing it. We're going to be bringing it. And yeah, let's continue this clip because there's about halfway left.
Ooh, that is some line. That's just me. Some other people are different. Take a swig of that water and just smile. I am so here for Ben Johnson versus Brian Flores. Guys, I would love it if the game started in about 5 minutes. That's how excited I am for this one.
Well, Peter, I think the way that's going to materialize on there, it would be cool to see those two go at it. But the way we're going to look at it is it's going to be the offensive line. And I'm looking at how the offensive line for Coach Johnson is going to take on the pressure of Brian Flores' defense and the way they attack. And so that's why this offensive line is going to be so critical in this, especially the way they protect. When you look at the way they bring pressure and then the way they apply, especially up front, like with the sacks, they can beat you one-on-one. They can bring some, Harrison down. They can use Grinner to go ahead, beat you on the one-on-ones. This is what, and then, of course, Andrew Van Ginkel, like he makes plays everywhere on that play. But this is a team that is bringing pressure. It feels like all the time. So when I look at Penny Sewell, I look at Decker, and I go, can these guys handle it? Can they keep your man, my man, Jared Goff upright in the pocket so he can make plays? And then the running backs as well. They're going to have to participate, too, in making sure that they can handle all of the protection calls to make sure they pick up. Because we know if you're sending more than they can block, we got issues.
Yeah, you got some issues, but I'm going to go.
Yeah, definitely. Those are all great points about the Vikings defense. But at the same time, the Lions O-line is no joke as well. So just like from what we've seen from the Vikings this year in our O-line, which is just behind them, in my opinion, in talent, we've seen a lot of clean pockets from Sam Darnold every single game. When it breaks down, he manages to do enough with his legs. I imagine that O-line has looked exactly the same way for these in the first 6 weeks. I watch every single game, but I watch the condensed version, like the 40-minute, like basically every play with all the context basically taken out. So sometimes you don't really get a good sense of how good the O-line is going drive to drive, but I guarantee you their O-line is feeling and looking the same. So I imagine they're going to have a lot of the same successes that we've had. So regardless, it's going to be a great game.
Go ahead and go to the Minnesota side of things, right? And put some respect on Mr. Sam Darnold. I know you like the Minnesota Vikings. I know you like
She's wearing purple, of course.
She's always going to rock it.
Subtle, Akbar. It's subtle like a bulldozer.
Just like his shirt is just subtle. Undefeated. They're undefeated.
Yeah,
I see what you did.
You see, the Sonic's been undefeated since 08. It's all good. But Sam Darnold is balling this year, and everybody needs to put some respect on it. I'm one, as well as most like other people, is like when you hear Sam Darnold, you understand what his history's been, and you kind of shoo his career along to the side until you have to recognize game and see what he's doing this year. He is top 5 in terms of record. Obviously, those guys are undefeated. He's top 5 in passing touchdowns, top 5 in passing yards per attempt. And the only thing that he's not in the top 5 in is he's 7th in passer rating. This dude is a killing man-to-man defense. He's top 2 in every QB category when you're talking about man-to-man. 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. You guys know who plays a lot of man-to-man?
Who's that?
Detroit. Okay. Detroit and Aaron Glenn, they like to play man-to-man. They like to play, matter of fact, 43% man-to-man whenever those guys are playing defense. So what does he have at his disposal when you start talking about how he can light up the Detroit Lions? Well, he has a Justin Jefferson, right? He has a Jordan Addison out there that's killing it. If you want to play man-to-man, okay, good luck against those two. And by the way, if you do want to play man-to-man, how about the linebackers, right? Linebackers and safeties, who are they responsible for? Well, they're responsible for the running
backs,
right? So you might be getting Aaron Jones back. You just picked up a Cam Akers, right? Who, by the way, has a great relationship with Kevin O'Connell from his time back with the Rams. And then they might be getting back some tight end by the name of T.J. Hockenson, who just happened since 2022 to be the best receiving tight end besides Travis Kelce in the league. So good luck trying to play man-to-man at these guys because Sam Darnold will dice you up.
That's a good matchup.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have Hawk or Reisner, which will be nice to have that depth. And at least the decoy on the offense with Hawk would have been nice. Aaron Jones, if he plays, he's probably going to be on a snap count. They're probably going to keep an eye on him. He probably will serve more as a decoy, if anything, is my best guess. But having him out there as a decoy and then doing like the running back by committee thing might be enough to continue or sustain drives. It's going to be a really good matchup and a key area to watch. If you're a Lions fan, that's one of the areas that you're going to be watching for, and I don't blame them. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, Sam Darnold has been playing really, really well this season so far. His reclamation project is about a quarter of the way in, and it was practical. Just like when I like to compare it to like when you come out of university or college and you finish that co-op portion or you go into your co-op portion where you've done your theory and now you have to do your practical, right? So he's on the field, he's 5 games in, a quarter of the way of the season, and he just has to continue for the rest of the season. So far, he's shown continued growth. The first 4 games, it's no secret that he had one of the highest passer ratings after 4 games. Last week's game against the Jets provided answers that a lot of people and a lot of critics have been saying. What are the Vikings going to be when Sam Darnold struggles? And against a really talented defense in the New York Jets, Sam struggled. But the answer was the question was made and the answer was found. We still win. So I expect that against a talented defense, a secondary, I still think that we're not going to have as hard a difficulty, and I think Sam's going to go a little bit, maybe not to the full, highest of his potential, but I think he goes a little bit more average, around that 200 yards, maybe 1-1, 2-1 if we're lucky. And he continues to do the right things, avoid pressure with scrambling in the right key moments, and do enough not to throw the game away. Again, I always like to say to people that think that Sam Darnold is the savior and that we rely on his arm to win us games. I always kind of a little bit cringe and laugh at that, because in reality, our savior really is, it's such a lame way of saying it, but our leader, our strength, our biggest strength, our path to victory is through this defense and through Brian Flores's ability to scheme the way he has been. And now that he has flow guys or Brian Flores guys, he's able to produce a scheme that we've never seen before, and he continues to improve. So I'm really excited to see the defense be tested by a great offense. So yeah, let's finish this clip on, and then we'll go through the 3 key areas that I'm looking at this week.
You know this game is good and deep because we don't often throw around the coordinators as much as we do in this matchup. It's usually the quarterbacks.
That's like the 10th storyline.
No, but in this one's big. And you know why it's big? There's an interesting nugget. There is one team in the NFL that has had the same head coach and 2 coordinators for 3 straight seasons. Only 1 out of 32, and it's the Detroit Lions.
Wow.
It's the only team, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, head coach, and you guys, and Johnson and Glenn and Campbell, it's the only team in the league that has that, and that's the reason why they might be the best team in the league. I think there's an interesting thing here in that the dirty little secret about the Vikings, their undefeated record, Sam Darnold gets hit a lot, and maybe more than you might think. In fact, we have the statistics to back it up. Take a look at this in terms of how much a quarterback gets hit, how much he gets sacked, statistically lining up against everybody else, all right? So it's the sack rate. 9.3 is the 4th highest in the league. And guys, due respect to the 3 teams above them, those teams aren't going anywhere. They have terrible records.
We'd expect it from those.
Of course. Deshaun Watson can't go anywhere. The Patriots, and the Titans have been really bad. And then so you have those 3 teams, and then a 5-0 team. Understand what that means. 9.3% of the time, he's getting sacked. That's a lot. So isn't it interesting that the Lions just lost their best pass rusher? Now, normally, Aiden Hutchinson just put a napkin on if you're fork and knife and go get Sam Darnold. He's gone. His leg's broken. The surgery was successful. Our hearts are broken for it, and I think the Lions are in a lot of ways too. Who is that guy who's going to step up? Because I have seen mock-ups of everyone from Max Crosby to Sedarius Smith in Lions jerseys. I haven't heard anything coming from the Lions about going to spend some money or draft picks on a pass rusher. And Dan Campbell has said next man up about 60 times in the last 24 hours. Is it? Because if they can't touch Sam Darnold, who everyone seems to be touching with their pass rush, then maybe the Lions do have a problem. So watch the absence of Hutchinson, the blocking of the Vikings. I normally don't go interior O-line talk, but I really think this is a massive deal because if the Lions can't touch Darnold in this game, they may have bigger problems moving forward, and the Hutchinson thing looms large.
Great point. I guess it's a good segue into the biggest factor, in my opinion, in this game. It's the elephant in the room that I've kind of been avoiding the entire time, because all the way up to this point in the video, because it's what everybody's really concerned with, I guess. This is one of the best young defensive generational talents that we've seen at his position in a long time. When I look at how other guys like Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons, how other teams prepare for them, they don't tackle their defensive schemes like people like teams tackle the Lions, right? There's a lot more running away and scheming away from Hutchinson, and he's a big factor in when I see teams scheme for Detroit when they play them, right? Myles Garrett, I don't see a lot of that. I see maybe some checking away from the pressure and stuff like that, but the scheme in general, there's not that kind of respect. Outside maybe like Mason Crosby might get a little bit of that as well. But like Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, these guys, Myles Garrett, they don't command that kind of respect that Aiden Hutchinson does. He's ranked 47th by his peers in the top 100 this year, climbing from 88 if I'm not mistaken. So he is going to be missing him is going to be a massive factor for these Lions. And I want to show you guys this stat or these stats. When you have a generational talent, or when you have a player of this caliber, with the production levels that they have, their teams don't do very well historically when they're injured or when they're missing. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 1-10 when TJ Watt's not in the game all time. The New York Giants are 8-16 without Michael Strahan all time. The the San Francisco 49ers are 5-10 without Nick Bosa. Right, that's massive. The Cleveland Browns are 4-11 without Myles Garrett. And one of the biggest ones, Lawrence Taylor, when he missed the game, the Giants were 4-14. And that's not to say or be a negative shot or anything like that, but I think it highlights the fact at how defenses prepare, or how offenses prepare for defenses, or teams prepare for your defense going into the week. And when you don't have that generational talent, that top tier, top 5 pass rusher in the league or defender that causes this kind of attention, it drastically changes the way teams prepare for you. All the easy one-on-ones that the rest of the O-line or D-line were getting, and the less attention that they were given, they're no longer going to benefit from that, right? When Hutch is on the field, 100% or like 95% of their focus is what he's doing and how he's going to affect the play. Everybody else has the rest of the attention, right? So they're able to get away with some things, right? That's why these defenses can produce at some of these role players or players that you wouldn't think would be able to produce at a high level can produce. And I think that's going to be a massive factor for this defense going into this game. I think they're going to be more vanilla, and we're going to see more of a traditional style. And the approach that the Vikings are going to have is going to be where it's going to alleviate the pressure from the pass rush, of course. I know we're going to still have some issues because Ed Ingram and Bradbury are still, a little bit of a work in progress and have been struggling at times, especially in pass protection. But I still feel like he's going to have, as a result, more time in the pocket, and that pressure is going to be translated from Sam Darnold onto the secondary, because now that pass rush isn't landing as consistently, and which makes the defenders in the secondary and the corners have to play at that much higher level. So my biggest factor is them missing Aiden Hutchinson because he is so dynamic and because he does command so much respect from offenses and teams when they play him. The last thing that the next big factor that I want to kind of highlight is US Bank Stadium, right? So far this year, we have completely disoriented teams when they come into our house. It's arguably the best home field advantage in the NFL. Going into this game, I know it's going to be far worse than anything the Lions have experienced since we are 5-0. If we look at last year, I want to show you guys this article. I'll read you guys this article that I saw after last year's game, where the Lions came into US Bank. This is from, I forget, Pro Football Reference. It was a Lions. It's a Lions fan site, or Lions site or organization, publication, I guess you could say. And they were covering and making some assessments of the game, and this is what they talked about the O-line, right? And what he saw. And he said, "I'm not sure what led to this, since the Lions had played in loud environments before this season. But the offensive huddles were a disaster against the Vikings. The Lions were flagged for 3 delay of game penalties and came very close to more. The Lions were consistently exiting the huddle with 10 seconds or fewer left on the play clock. It gave them little time to get a player in motion, let alone get the snap off." I think that's a great assessment coming from one of their own beat writers in Detroit for the Lions, that it highlights how difficult it was for them last year when they came into US Bank Stadium, when we weren't as hyped, as pumped as we are now, during a season where we had lost our starting quarterback and most teams would just basically flounder and their crowds would be non-existent, right? It just wouldn't be what most teams expected. But with a backup quarterback and with the energy that place provided, it created those kind of problems for Jared Goff in that offense. I know a lot of things have gone forward, so we can't. It's not an exact indicator of what's going to happen today, because what happened last year, in my opinion, for both sides, when it comes to the football and their outcomes, don't really play a factor, because we had our backup quarterback in there. The majority of the defense from that year is gone, is either on practice squads somewhere else, or sitting on the couch, maybe even watching this video. So that defense is not going to translate. What happened in that game is not going to translate, just like how things have changed on that offense, right? Jahmyr Gibbs, that last year was his rookie year, and he was he had showed a lot of flash, and I was really impressed with him last year. This year, he has been lights out, and he has really come into his own. So that doesn't really play a factor either. But what it is a good indication of how difficult it is to play in US Bank Stadium, even for a divisional opponent, which typically divisional games are tougher than other games, regular season games or other divisional or even conference games, right? So it's going to be a big factor. And I think because it is so even on both sides of the ball, roster-wise, coaching-wise, I think it's going to come down to just a handful of advantages that the Vikings have, in my opinion, over the Lions. Few advantages that they have over us. So all in all, I think that's where that's what's gonna be the difference in this game. And despite it being a close game, I don't think we fall into the situation where we bust out into a 3-4 scored lead or possession game, and then we struggle with playing with a lead. I don't think that's going to play a factor today, because I think the game's going to be close the entire way through. So we're never going to be in that threat of having to play like that or have that worry to affect the play calling. I think we're going to have to, I think we're going to show that we've learned how to play with the lead, because I feel like one of the biggest questions that I've had, and I think a lot of people have had, is going to be answered today. I think we are going to play with a from behind today at some point in the game, whether that's after the first drive or multiple times. And it's been asked, what are the Vikings going to do when we play from behind? Because it's no secret, we've only played from behind for 3 minutes and 28 seconds this entire season after 5 games. The only team that we've trailed to has been the Giants. And since then, the 49ers, the Texans, the Packers, and the lowly Jets have not been able to do it. So I think it's going to be a big factor, and the difference that's going to make it so we win the game. And if those false starts that US Bank Stadium creates today are in perfect situations and perfect timing, where it causes a stalled drive or an interception or whatever it is, I think that's going to be the thing, because it's just going to be so evenly matched. And then I think the defense on the Lions is going to have a little bit of a harder time than normal to get the Vikings or the opponent off the field. So if anybody's got any questions going into this game, feel free to drop them in the chat. What do you guys think of my assessment? Aaron Jones is going to is another big factor that a lot of people have been talking about going into this game. His availability, what the offense looks like when he's not in it. But with the addition of Cam Akers, him being already part of this kind of brotherhood from last year, I think he'll transition in nicely. He's kind of got the ability to do enough through the running back by committee. So I think that if Aaron Jones plays, it's going to be a snap count, and he's mostly going to be a decoy. So what that leads to, or how effective that's going to be against the Lions, was going to be proven today in a couple hours. But all in all, I think our advantages just slightly outweigh their small advantages, because outside of the 1 or 2 advantages that each team has, everything else is basically even, in my opinion. Coaching, roster strength, depth. We saw last week some of Zeitler, I want to say. I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name, but he went down for a play or two, and you guys brought in a backup, and he played very well in his absence. So depth is like basically everything is even in this between these two teams. So I'm excited to see what happens. I guess we've made it to the prediction and part of the show. The first prediction I'm going to make is that just like we've been doing consistently, I think we're going to get an early game turnover, whether that's a fumble, forced fumble, strip sack and fumble, or interception early in the game, in that late first quarter, early second quarter. That's going to turn the tides to us to take control of the game. And then it's going to be a back and forth battle of fighting for the league lead before late in the game. I see an interception or a turnover caused by the Vikings defense to kind of seal the game like it's been going. We've done a really, really good job of forcing teams into high pressure situations late in the game, putting the clock pressure on them. So I think that is going to be a factor as well. I can very much imagine seeing a 1-score lead in the fourth with Jared Goff and the Lions pushing to make that tying score, and a forced turnover to kind of take away more of the clock, and maybe potentially, like we've seen in all the games so far, when we need Sam in the second half, he kind of just buckles down and he puts together a drive that seals the game. Whether we need him to put 3 to make sure that Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the flexibility to go up the field and either tie and force overtime, but instead they're forced to actually score to win the game, and creates that high pressure situation, which causes that incredible play by Stephon Gilmore. The way that he put his chest to the defender and didn't allow for the back shoulder and targeted the ball, it was incredible. Like we saw against the Packers late in the game, where Jordan Love was under that pressure and he threw interception off the back foot, coming off the pressure from Harrison Smith, and then followed by peanut punch by my goodness, by Byron Murphy, and that caused us to regain control of the game, as well as against the 49ers, where we had made some mistakes that allowed the momentum and the 49ers to start to get back into it. But when the time was needed and called upon, Sam Darnold and those Vikings did exactly what they needed to, killed the clock and put up a field goal. So I feel like it's going to play out very, very similar. And I think my final score prediction is going to be, it's not going to be ultra low scoring. So I don't think it's going to be like 13-10 or nothing crazy like that. Like, I don't imagine it just being a defensive, just crazy game like that, old school game. Man, I honestly haven't really thought about this, and I've been avoiding making a prediction, even in comments all week. But I think I'm going. I'm going to say Vikings 27, Lions 20. And it's just going to be one of those games where it just flows kind of right. We never get into trouble with having to play with a drastic lead for extended periods of time, so we don't fall into that vanilla defense or clock management or that prevent defense that we all hate. But I think we pull it out. It's going to be a hard-fought game. I think there's going to be a lot of heart-stopping moments for both teams, because there's going to be highlight plays, like probably history being made. So don't blink. It's going to happen on both sides. Both teams are going to have incredible situations happen, incredible plays, and man, it sucks because there's like the Packers and the Texans are playing, so their fan bases are going to be watching that. There's another game, if I can't remember right now, that's going to be a really good game as well. So, man, this game should have been flexed a while back. But who would have known it? They would have had to flex it in week 1 or 2, and they wouldn't have known, right? So that we were going to be as good. Like, only diehard fans like myself and people in the organization had the aspirations to start like we did. So, or the foresight to see it, right? So it's going to be an incredible day, Vikings fans. I hope you guys have a great game. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be jumping on the live stream with Zoe and the boys. We're going to do a watch party, me, Catch, and Zoe, I believe. And at halftime, I'm going to be doing a suicide wing challenge, as you could, and I'm going to be eating a ton of boneless chicken bites that are going to be ridiculously spicy. I make my own hot sauces, so I got a ton of spice naturally just from cayenne pepper, habanero, And then I bought this hot sauce online that's like 1.5 million Scoville that I throw like 2 or 3 tablespoons in there. So it's ridiculously spicy to say the least. Oh no, I forgot to buy blue cheese. Okay, well, I got an hour or two before the game starts, so I'll have that. So I hope you guys enjoy the suffering. I'm going to use it as a distraction from the game. I'm just going to try to enjoy the game today. Just not let my my negative, my jaded Vikings feelings kind of get the better of me like they have in the past. And I'm just going to enjoy the moment. Just buckle into that roller coaster. I'm going to get those hands up, and I'm going to enjoy every high and every low of this game, because every single moment is a learning experience for the rest of this season. And we got a good stretch of games for the rest of the season where we can really hone the ability from playing with a massive lead, playing with a lead, and develop that ability to win that we've been criticized for not having that killer instinct in the second half, I guess. But I think we pull it together. I think this bye week has been great for the Vikings, and I think a big factor within the organization, or a big focus, has been we need to learn how to put the lessons that we've learned so far and learn how to win convincingly. And I think that this game is going to answer a lot of questions, and I think finally we're going to know what the Vikings are going to do when we get punched in the mouth and when we have to play from behind. And I am all for it, and it's going to be exciting. So thank you for joining me this morning. Hit that like and subscribe. Oh man, I'm so terrible at doing this. I'm only a month into it, guys, but hopefully I'll get better, get more refined. But please hit that like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Check back with us at the live stream, at the watch party. And I hope you guys have a great day. Both you Lions and Vikings fans, I want both you guys to have a great day. And Skol Vikings. And no injuries on either side anymore. I hate it. I cringe every single time. I can't look at it. Please save me from this, okay? I don't want to see injuries anymore.